Hello everyone, I just thought I would like to share with you how I make some of my handmade flowers. This tissue came in a packet of really fine delicate paper, and each sheet was separated with the tissue, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, that is such beautiful tissue, what shall I make out of it? I don't want to waste it. So I've already folded it in half. I think it's 12 by 12 inches or 30 by 30 centimeters. So now I know that this punch is no longer available, but if you have a big shot or a big shot and some of our Stampin' Up! Dies, one in particular which is on my wish list is the support ribbon framelits. There's a really lovely flower framelit in there that you could use to cut out the layers that I'm going to do. So it's very similar. It's got a lot more petals, this one. It's called Support Ribbon Framelits. It's $38 and there are 6 dies in the set, and it goes with a stamp set called Ribbon of Courage. You'll find this on page 220. Let me see if I can bring that a bit closer and you will see. There it is there. Okay, so we'll go back to my tissue. So I folded it in half and folded it in half. And folded it in half. It's a bit like the Sarah Lee ad. She folds it and folds it and folds it again. So I folded it down and down. So there's going to be quite a few petals cut out because tissue obviously is very fine, thin paper, but that's what I want for this particular flower. Then I'm just going to, hopefully this behaves itself, and I'm going to put it in the punch and punch them out. Yay, look at that. Get rid of that. Yeah, it's a bit hard to get tissue out, but it comes out. Put that out of the way. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my piercing mat and I leave it in the plastic bag, and one side I use for pressing on, one side I use for punching and putting holes in. Keep them together and just find roughly where the center is, and with a piercing tool or whatever you happen to have, like an awl. I actually have my mother's awl. My mother's been gone 11 years now, so this awl she's had I think most of her life. Isn't that amazing? And it's red. So until I got a Stampin' Up! Piercer, this is what I used to use, and yeah, I'm so glad I still have Mum's awl. So I just find the center, keep them all together, push a hole in the center, push it right through, and then get yourself a brad. Now Stampin' Up! I bought brads back. I don't have any of the new ones at the moment, but I still have some of the original ones that were out a few years ago. They're really tiny, but the new ones that are out, they'll do just as good, and I just use that to put in the center to hold the layers together. So we'll just get that split. Brad, some people call them split pins, and you can see where I'm splitting it. Alright, so that's all I do, press it together, and that's holding my layers in. Now see how you can separate them? And they'll spin around, and this gives you the movement to make all the petals different. So I'll push this out of the way. I will just grab a piece of darker cardstock so you can see this better. A little bit of Night of Navy. So the next thing I do, if this was thicker paper, I'd spritz it with some water. But because it's tissue and I'm actually going to dye it another colour once I've squished it all, I'm not going to risk that. So all I do is get the first layer, squish it up. You'll end up with a hot mess. See? And I just do that for every layer, squish it up, squish it up. There's another word to add to your vocabulary besides smoosh. Squish. Here we go. So I'm not sure how many layers this is. That's 3, 4, probably about a dozen layers. Keep squishing. Can you see that? Right. And another one. Squishing them all up on top of one another. I've done this with the brown paper packaging that comes when you get a Stampin' Up order. Those of you who've ordered know that Stampin' Up pack their boxes very well. And I'm big on recycling, and this, I saw the tissue and I went, oh, I so have to make a flower out of some of that. So I'm keeping going. This is going to be a really nice fluffy one. Keep going. So I'm sorry this is taking a bit of time, but you want to see how long it takes. So it isn't very long. It's just fiddly. I got tiny little fingers, so I squish them in there. And I have a feeling this paper is going to absorb some re-inker. So I'm going to use, remember last week I dyed my white ribbon? I'm going to use some of that spritz that I already made up to colour this flower. So we're almost done. Oh, sorry about the bang. That's my cats running and chasing each other through the house. Yep, they play chasies and they knock furniture over, and they're crazy cats. Some of you have seen Mr. Nibbles. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to get up here while I'm talking, but he'll get squirted with the water bottle if he does. Right, so there we go. There's the back with the brad. So you'll end up with something that looks like that. Then all I do is very gently with my thumbs is just pull the petals out just a little bit. And this actually kind of reminds me of, I'm not sure what the flower is. I think it's like a peony. But look at the difference. Isn't that cute? And it's nice and concentrate in the center because there's lots of layers of that tissue. You don't have to have as many layers, but I just thought I'm going to use that whole sheet because it was free and it was packaging. Look at that. It's a very pretty. That would look really nice, just plain white with some gold or silver on a card for a wedding or an engagement photo. But man, that is just so simple. Here we go. I'm not even going to elaborate any further on that. How do you think? Sorry, I got a bit shaky hands. Isn't that pretty? So that was an old retired punch. Sadly, we don't have many flower punches, if any. And this one, I forget what it's called, petal punch. But if you've got it, hang on to it because it's amazing what you can make. If not, like I said, use a big shot die and you can cut them out. And like the big shot will go through how I folded those that sheet up. It will go through them all in one turn of the big shot. So next, I will just grab some scrap paper. Oh, hello, I've used it all. We'll just use this piece of cardboard. How's that? Put this piece of cardboard behind there. You can still see the white flower. And what colour shall we make this pretty flower? Let's do Grapefruit Grove. One of the new in colours for this year. If I can find it. Where are you? I've got a whole stack of them. Look. A whole stack of them in here. There it is. That one. Grapefruit Grove. And I'll give it a little spritz. And it's made the prettiest little flower. And if you want to have some highlights on it, you can turn it over and do the back. Okay, you don't want to do too much because it's tissue and it could go limp. I'm just going to hit it with my heat gun for a little while I shall use my tweezers, my trusty long handled tweezers, and give it a dry. And this will also add to the effect of the crumpled little flower. It's almost looking translucent, but once dry it won't. Isn't it pretty? Now I want to actually add some highlights to this, so I'm going to show you how to just do some little highlights on the tips, because we all know flowers aren't exactly one colour. So with this, I'm going to grab my silicone craft sheet. Very handy. Look at mine, covered in glitter. You can tell I use it a lot. I am going to grab some, what colour shall we get? Lovely lipstick. And I'm going to spritz just a little bit of it on here to make a puddle. See? Can you see that? Just a little bit. Then pick my flower up by the base. I'm just going to hook that into there, like that. And I'm going to dip the edges. Just like that. Whoop. Maybe I'll just use my fingers, because we all know Virginia loves inky fingers. And we'll just dip it in. I hope you can see what's happening. And roll it around just a little bit. Don't press on it. Just roll it around to get some highlights. There we go. So I'll move that out of the way. And I'll, look, inky fingers. Yes, it does come off with EcoWorks spray. It works. See, there's no purple left on Blackberry Bliss left from the other day. Okay. Right, so I'll just give that a little blast. And see the different shades. I might actually bring my silicone sheet back in, and I'm just going to try and get a little bit more in the center there. Just the center. Not sure if you saw that. Just the center. There we go. That's a bit more. And give it a dry. Another thing you can do once it's dry. Woo, come back here. Once it's dry is clear Wink of Stella. Man, is that an awesome product to use to get some sparkle and shimmer. Now, I think I buried it on my desk. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Clear Wink of Stella. It comes in very similar to the aqua painter style brush, like those. And it's already pre-mixed, so give it a shake. Pull the lid off. Give it a little squeeze. This one's almost empty, but it seems to have gone an awful long way. And what I do is just brush it over. Yeah, maybe I need my new one. I don't think there's much left in that. That one's probably 3 years old. This is the packaging that Wink of Stella comes in. Give that one a shake. And give it a squeeze. There we go. Here it comes. Oh, look at that. Might just pick that up. There we go. So the Wink of Stella, isn't it pretty? Gives it a bit of a shimmer. And you can then hit that with the heat gun and dry it completely. Right, I'll put the lid back on that. We might ditch this one because it's empty now. Can you see that? Let me turn that around. Okay, I'll just give that a quick blast. Woohoo! It's hot. There's those tweezers. There we go. How lovely is that? One handmade flower. Now, another tip is with the tissue is if you don't have any dies or paper punches, still fold it down, but then fold it in a diagonal, in a triangle. Let me see if I got a bit of paper. Right, so you've got a square. You've got it folded down to a square. So fold it that way, then that way. Now it'll be much easier to do with the tissue, and then that way, and then cut like cut there. Cut that out, and then when you open it out, you might have like a 6-petal flower. See? So 1, 2. And I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, as you can see by my drawing, right? So you basically have a bit of a petal, and you can cut it out, and that makes it even more rusty. So I hope that gives you an idea when you've seen some of my handmade flowers. That's how I do them. So happy stamping, crafting and colouring and creating. And until next time, this is Wurgie signing out. Bye.